Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Good job, and congratulations, United States of America. You succeeded in creating an alternative bloc to yours. But we need it. We need it because we always need an enemy so we can be brought back in line by being scared by the enemy that is pointed out. In this case, you succeeded to really have China locking hands with Russia. Not only that, Lukashenko visits now China, which tells me that's a little circle. Well, you can call it ideologically or utopically a circle of evil, or dogmatically, but it is a circle, and other countries are joining in and are already in there. And it's very easy to see that by the fact that they do not, or they refuse to condemn Russia or to parrot the same hysteria that other countries are doing it for various reasons. And these countries are not, I'm talking about China, I'm talking about India, I'm talking about Brazil, I'm talking about many others, are not really, easy to discard. Even if these leaders of ours, so-called leaders, are trying to make us believe that they're unimportant and Russia is isolated. Well, it doesn't seem to me Russia is isolated at all. It seems like the 50 countries that are fighting Russia in Ukraine, I think they isolated themselves from the 193 countries. Yes, I know. 2 days ago, the United Nations General Assembly voted to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's true. 141 countries said yes, we condemn it. Okay, well, the rest until 193 did not condemn it, kept their mouths shut, or said no, we oppose it. So many countries of that little alliance of 141, don't fool yourselves. They were not over there because they really believed in that. Obviously, I have no evidence, hard evidence to provide to you. It's just looking around and seeing who were on the other side. Now, if you think that many countries, even from Europe, jumped on the Russian hysteria train willingly, then again, what can I tell you? Interest dictates, and not only interest dictates, there's some kind of people who are in certain kind of positions who will maneuver countries in certain kind of directions. And you have the mass media who plays a very important role of creating a certain kind of narrative, and you have a lot of votes here, a lot of votes that. That works on both camps, all right? Not only here, over there as well. The thing is, what I'm trying to say is Russia is not isolated. Russian economy did not collapse. And it seems like, on the contrary, you have countries, important countries, really taking, Russia's side. Now it got Russia's side. Let's see what happens here in China, where Lukashenko, the so-called president, dictator, criminal, however you want to call him, of Belarus, is visiting Mr. Xi Jinping, the president of China, now because they're very isolated. So let's see what's going on here. So this article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine from February 26, 2023. Lukashenko to meet with Xi Jinping to help Russia and China circumvent sanctions. The Institute of Study of War notes that Lukashenko had earlier announced his plans to visit China from February 28 to March 2 and meet with Xi Jinping to sign agreements on trade, investment, and large-scale joint projects. Lukashenko also intends to meet with top officials and executives of Chinese corporations. So, Lukashenko's announcement of his planned visit coincided with reporting from CNN, the most trusted news in the whatever, and the Washington Post, another one, that senior US officials assess that China is seriously considering selling combat drones, personal weapons, and 121mm and 152mm artillery shells to Russia, the report reads. And it must be true, because they say so. Russia, and I'm quoting, Russia and Chinese officials have also reportedly developed plans for the shipment of drones to Russia under falsified shipping documents to avoid international sanctions measures. Now, when you hear reportedly, allegedly, this is someone said something, all right? Or if you say someone is accused of, again, someone said something. Before everything is proven, all these things mean just what they mean, just accusation, and unless you bring the evidence, that's just accusations and reported statements or allegations. Institute of Study of War, experts. Now this is over here, so it builds legitimacy and authority to this one. So that must be experts. Well, I'm an expert too. I read a lot about these things. I have been involved in this. When am I supposed to be an expert? I have a lot of diplomas. So am I an expert too or no? Oh, you're not on the right, okay. So ISW experts suggest that China may try to use agreements with Belarus to hide its sanctions violations. If it goes ahead with plans to supply Russia, very possible, very possible. China's top diplomat Wang Yi visited Moscow on February 22nd, where he met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and President Vladimir Putin. According to the media reports, Xi Jinping is also preparing to visit Moscow in the coming months for a summit with Putin. All right, against this backdrop, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that he would like to meet with Chinese leader. Well, you're just a little dog over there, little puppy. According to him, Kiev has already conveyed this intention to Beijing at the diplomatic level. Well, that's where people get delusional. This Zelensky, for the reasons that are there provided, thinks that he is the center of the universe at this point. And he is made to appear to be like, the great general, the great this and that. So putting that aside, let's go back to this. Yes, that's very possible that China will somehow fly its, weapons to Belarus. And then from the Belarus, the Russians are just going to put him around and fight the Ukrainians. I mean, if you look on the map and see where Belarus is and how Belarus is also a locked country, it doesn't have access to any seas, then how are you going to transfer that? By plane? What kind of planes are you going to use? The military planes? And why do you come from China, fly over Russia and drop over there when the Americans will know anyway? Why don't you just give it straight to the Russians? It says, yes, we are here. And I think we're going to get that point. What I'm trying to emphasize here is the fact that these countries are not isolated. You can say, well, it's only 3 countries. Well, that's true. It's 3 countries that are in your face together. We can put India, gets oil from Russia and supports Russia economically. China the same way. I think they don't need United States of America. Does Russia need the United States of America for that? No. Their trade is flimsy, nothing too important over there. So there are markets open for Russia. Russia did not collapse economically, did not collapse militarily, politically, socially for 1 year. Remember, there are about 50 countries on the other side actively sending weapons to the front, actively placing sanctions on Russia, actively politically threatening and negotiating with other countries to not do business with Russia. And still, Russia is still there. I mean, I'm not saying Russia is, prospering under the circumstances, but it's very far from where these guys expected Russia will be in 48 hours. They thought in 48 hours Russia will be done. Economically, will be collapsed. It's going to be a big crisis, and everybody's going to go with pitchforks and torches and get Putin from the Kremlin, and then do with him what some did with Benito Mussolini in Milano. Remember? So yeah, he was with Carla, whatever her name was. Pictures available. You can access them and see what the people how people decided to dispense justice. So when these guys are trying to start a new Nuremberg trial, I suggest you read about the Nuremberg trial, and not only read the official version of the Nuremberg trial and see how justice was dispensed. Well, they got that, they got that. Okay, no problem. Why do you think those guys, the Germans, criminals, they surrendered to the Americans and not to the Soviet army? Can you think? They didn't know that they will have a Nuremberg trial with the Soviets in, and with the other ones in, and with certain kind of people from the United States in, taking care of them. So a lot of them were disappointed. But hey, evidence is evidence. What can I say? You know what I mean? So no sign of how do you call it? Isolation. Russia was isolated by these 50 countries before this anyway, at the orders of the United States of America. So I don't see why the Russians would be now, stressed about it. On the contrary, all this BS pushed those guys closer and closer and closer. What are you going to do? Well, do the same thing. Keep doing the same thing is going to get different results, right? We'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.